We're going to talk about free CalTrin resources that enhance onboarding for your new staff. Even better, it does not hit your training budget. We're going to talk about how to review how can you integrate CalTrin offerings into ongoing staff professional development. And then we're going to develop a practical action plan, hopefully so that you can think about using this great resource into your training strategy. Now, here's the good news. I have nothing to sell you on. I challenge you to go onto the CalTrin website and find anything you can purchase. There's nothing. What I say is the only thing you can pay is attention at CalTrin. So all of this is really for your benefit. This is a public service announcement. So I'm going to ask you to think about this very important question and tell me in the chat. How do you want your staff to feel on their first day? If you could summarize it in a few words, I want you to think about somebody joining your team. How do you want them to say they felt? Just like I asked you in our icebreaker, what will they ideally say about you, your organization, the process? What would you say? Excited, welcomed and excited to learn. How about how they felt being there, how the staff helped them to feel, the process, like they belonged and they see their part? Love it. Belonged, included. Belonging is a very different feeling than welcomed, isn't it? They feel the same, but they're not. I love that. Excited about their workplace and workspace. I'm into it. Welcomed, clear on their assignment. Belonging is so good, isn't it? You know, I have to just tangent for a little. Let me just step on my soapbox. I said this about human resources in the past, and I truly believe it. What I value about being part of an onboarding experience, or really being a peer to somebody or a leader to somebody in the workplace, you and I have no idea what happens when our staff and our colleagues go home. We don't know. I hope it's their best life. I don't know that. And when I worked in human resources, specifically, when I had the opportunity to build an onboarding plan or a training plan, it was my opportunity to create a space where somebody could come consistently every day and know that they were cared about, know that they belonged and they made a difference, and they could be successful here. I used to tell people on their first day of work, if you've never been Employee of the Month, if you've never felt recognized, do you know that you could do that here? You could be a star employee if you've never been one. I don't know your bad habits. I won't know them unless you show them to me. This is a fresh start for you, and I'm so excited. And the truth is, work gives people quality of life, right? You can be a part of that from the first day. And so all of these wonderful words that you are, all these wonderful words that you're saying here in the chat, do you know that you can actually help that happen? I love it. They made the right decision by saying yes and agreeing to make a change for work at the agency. I love that. Now, here's the deal. People are not going to use that word because you want them to. They're not going to use that word because you would prefer that they do. They're only going to use words like included, belonging, informed, welcomed, organized, if you gave them evidence to use that word. And I'm telling you, it's done with intentionality. If they feel those words by accident, let me tell you, you hit the jackpot. Often the best onboarding plans, it's not bells and whistles. It's not buying them all kinds of, cool office decor, although I'm not going to say don't do that. That's great. It's how much thought you put into what you wanted them to experience and how you intentionally curated that for them. So I want you to think about yourself. I want you to think about maybe this organization that you're working for now or one that you've worked for in the past. What's one thing that helped you feel connected when you were new? And if you didn't, what is one thing that would have made you feel connected? Tell me in the chat. I want you to go back. What's one thing that helped you feel like you belonged or feel like you were welcomed? And if you didn't, what would have been different? I love this. Lunch with somebody on the first day. Yes. It's your very first day. They want you to sit by yourself. How rude. Warm smiles on day one, kindness and eye contact. Yeah. A group in-person training, lunch with the supervisor on the first day. I love that. Supervisors were welcoming. Yeah, and when you think about what does welcoming mean? Welcoming means I'm going to pause what I'm doing to look you in your eyeball and say, hey, welcome to the team. I'm happy that you're here. Encouragement for new learning. You know, if you're reading the chat, people walking up to you and introducing themselves. Thank you for saying that, Brenda, because you're right. Can you imagine being the new person in the office and having to like, hi, sorry, my name is Jessica. I just wanted to pop in. Why should your new hires have to do that for themselves? I love that. And often things like the supervisors or, oh, tour of the space. Let me show you where you work. Now, what if you're virtual, y'all? What if you're virtual? Can any of these translate? Shadowing somebody. I love that. We have a remote office, so we send all new hires to a personal welcome email, a welcome to the team email maybe. This is great. As you can maybe see a pattern in this chat box, how much money do those things cost? How much money does it cost you to get up from your desk and go say hi to the new hire? Or to ensure that they're in an email chain so everybody can say welcome? It doesn't take as much effort as you think. It just takes a little bit of intention and planning. That's it. And so I'm excited that all of the strategies we're going to talk about are just that, intention and planning. And something I want to remind you, and this is a big, important to do when it comes to onboarding. Onboarding is culture work. It's not an administrative task. I'm going to say that one more time. Onboarding is culture work. It's not an administrative task. People treat onboarding like, ugh, I have to schedule the new hire. I'm like, whoa. You are missing the opportunity to enforce and build culture in your organization. And I understand it takes time, but you want to make that time up front. And I've brought with me a little statistic on why it's so important. This is a little statistic. It's very recent. It's from a Brandon Hall group, but it says organizations with a strong onboarding process improve new hire retention by 82% and productivity by 70%. Now, you might be thinking, oh, come on, that's kind of high. And I think to myself, I can tell you, I've seen the numbers. That is accurate. Do you know they say it takes a new hire 3 days in the office to identify whether this is somewhere they want to be in the next year or not? 3 days. And if you think to yourself like, wow, that's kind of a quick decision, I would challenge you to put yourself in their shoes. Think about what it feels like to be somewhere where you feel like you belong and somewhere where you feel like you don't. Makes a big difference about how excited you are to stay there, right? So when people say, that it's going to help build culture, when I say things like that, I'll give you an example. Often when I talk to people that are looking for new employment, I ask them what they're looking for, and they say, you know what I really want? A positive work culture. And I challenge them back and I say, what does that even mean? That's such a cotton ball term. What does it mean? It's too theory. When I ask them to describe it, often they struggle. And that's when I realized that positive work culture is more than just a formula, or else we would all say the same thing. It's a feeling that people have when they are at work. And sometimes it's hard to put your finger on, but I think I've narrowed it down to belonging and valued. Do I have a place here? Do I see it as us and not what they do and what I do? And do I feel valued for the time, energy, talent that I give to this organization? Like being there matters to somebody. and to themselves. So how do we build those feelings? Well, I can't make you feel anything, right? Like, it's not my job to make you feel something, just like you can't make me feel something, but I can create an environment where it is more likely to occur because I've created the conditions for it. And when I tell you how do you build culture, that could be difficult. But if I ask you, how do you break it? It might be a little bit easier. So here are a few culture building through connection things I just want to bring to you if we're thinking about building culture through your onboarding process. First and foremost, to build culture through connection, especially with your onboarding process, you need to define your clear goals, y'all. What does your new hire need to know on their first day? You want to turn the fire hydrant on and ask them to drink for it. You're like, and here's this and that and all these things and da 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 da. Okay. There's a difference between what you would like them to know and what they need to know. I would challenge you to say, is it possible that you are trying to inundate them on the first day instead of developing a week-long plan? Maybe a week-long plan might be better. If you're like, nope, I want them to sit down with every supervisor in the organization on their first day, you are at risk of certain supervisors not being available, and then the plan has fallen through on the first day. Is it possible that instead of a first day experience, they could have a first week? How about a first month plan? I could tell you I'm not your HR representative, but I used to be one for somebody. We had a 3-month long plan, 90-day plan. What do I need this new hire to show, know, do, demonstrate in the first 90 days of employment? Now, I'm not here to give you advice, but you work in California, some of you. Let me tell you that 90-day plan, kind of important. Just like. So for 90 days, what exactly are you looking for them to demonstrate, know, do? And I want you to think about that for yourself. If any ideas are coming to you, start dropping them in the chat. What is your goal for them? The next thing is you have to create an intentional experience. Be clear on the experience you want them to have. Just like we asked that question, how do you want them to feel? Well, being intentional means that you've created an environment where they are likely to feel that. You have to put yourself in their shoes a little bit. And lastly, you got to set them up for success. Connect them to your culture. Ensure that they feel plugged in socially, structurally, strategically. Who is your first hire going to shadow on their first day or first week? Who, if you're in an office, do you have a lunch plan available? Like, could somebody sit with them for lunch? Maybe you do a team. I used to call them a family meal on the first day. The team sits together, we eat together. This is an opportunity just to connect, chat, show them what it feels like and looks like to be a part of this team. Okay. A few other things I think are important to mention. Building culture through connection also looks like distributing a plan in advance. Give supervisors or any mentors or anyone that they are going to be shadowing time to prepare. What do you think it feels like for a new hire when you take them to their next meeting? You're like, hey, Jess, we have our new hire here today. It's Michelle. She's here. And Jessica's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. Sorry, I'm not available. Or, oh, I wasn't ready, but that's okay, Michelle, just have a seat. You could watch me work. I'm telling you, it's happened. Don't feel shame if you've done it. It's common. But when you have a plan in advance, I like to send calendar invites. Send people a calendar invite so they've created space in their day for somebody and they know what's going to be expected. And you've got to allocate and protect that time. Estimate how much time should be dedicated to each topic that this new hire is going to be learning. Every shadowing opportunity, maybe it's a one-on-one connection time, new hire orientation. Make space in schedules in advance. So maybe you're going to give your new hire an agenda. Hey, welcome to the team. Here's what you can expect today. Here's what you can expect over the next week. The agenda might move, but here's what we have planned so far. Give them something to look forward to. 90 days is your probationary period. Susan, that is common and I love it. Oh, we have a 30-day hire period. Wonderful. That 90-day probationary period is very common. And in those 90 days, you're trying to set them up for success. You want them to stay. Okay. Set them up for success by providing knowledge, skills, and tools that they need to thrive. If you are, okay, I need to pause here, time it out for a second. You know how they talk about generational trauma? Generational trauma is like generational historical trauma. CalTrin has some pretty cool trainings on it. If you haven't seen them yet, they're in our replay. It's basically saying, you know, things that my parents did that maybe weren't as helpful. They probably learned from their parents. It's now how I might parent type of thing. Well, I believe that there could be like a workplace generational trauma where we just carry the baton of what was handed to us. And sometimes that baton is onboarding. So you are onboarding others the way that it's always been done. And how's that working out for you? Do people use words like belonging and welcomed? Are you throwing in them in the deep end because you were thrown in the deep end? You have every opportunity to change what the next hire experience is from here on out. Every opportunity. And setting them up for success is asking yourself, what are the tools? What are the most common questions they're going to have in their first week? How can I prepare for them in advance? Maybe answer that question or give them a resource so that they know where to find it. These are just some quick tips I wanted to offer to you as part of this process. Now, let's talk about some new hire welcoming practices. Let's talk about what's going well right now. Tell me in the chat, what are some things that you think are working well? What are some best practices either you love that your organization is doing now, or you've heard other organizations do? Oh, we have an onboarding team. Yes, we have the staff gets 9 days of lecture, 4 weeks of onboarding, 2 weeks in person, 7 to 8 weeks of one-on-one support during this time. I would love to know, you don't have to tell us, how that has impacted your retention rate, because I bet you it has. All right, so tell me in the chat, what are some of your favorite practices? Coffee with the executive director. I love that in the first 90 days. That's wonderful. What else? And you know what, Jennifer, often the executive director, at least when I've worked with them, they like to have like, hey, give me a little rundown. Who's supposed to be here? Give me like something to know about them. So I'm not walking in like I've never heard their name. I could say, oh, Jessica, welcome. You're from, is it CalTrin? Now, maybe I've never heard of CalTrin. I don't know, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say from CalTrin, right? Great. How's that going? Open door to a supervisor. I love it. One is almost always available. Ask questions. Absolutely. I love this. Great. Now, I have a visual of how I see new hire welcoming practices. It looks like this. I'd invite you into this experience with me. Ooh, our CEO has a meeting in 30 days. I love it. One-on-one supervision. Love that. Onboarding in my heart feels like this. I see it as you are equipping somebody for a journey with your organization. You're not going to send them out on a I almost said a 5-mile hike, but that's probably not a lot. To me, that's a lot. You're not about to send them on a 50-mile trek without water, without a tent. Yeah, without, I don't go camping. This is hilarious. What would someone need? A sleeping bag, maybe? A pillow. That's what I would need. A snack, Cheetos. Anyway, if you're going to be sending them out into a journey to experience working with your clients, supporting the community, being a strong peer, or you've hired them into a leadership role, You're not going to let them into the wilderness of the workplace without any equipment. And if you've hired a leader, I don't care that they've been doing it for 10 years already. You don't know what that was like. You didn't work with them. Are you equipping them with leadership tools, even in your new organization? This isn't just giving them tools to be successful. It's also helping them get excited about the journey, because you get to say, hey, you're going to go on this 20-minute adventure. Let me show you what we have prepared for that trip. We have a tent so that you are protected from the elements. We've given you Cheetos so that you can have a snack. There's plenty of water. You'll never be thirsty here. But what could it look like to offer your new hire that, hey, there's a lot of things that you're going to see and experience in this organization. We're so excited to do that with you. There's going to be some resources you're going to want to access. You and I don't even know what those are yet, but let me tell you, when you get there, we will be ready to assist. For today, here's what you need to know. And then give them the basics. Here's an overview of what your next week is going to look like. You're going to be meeting with different people. Those people, we're really just trying to connect, get to know you, show you around a little bit so that you feel connected to what we're doing here, because you're a part of this now. We're going to show you your workspace. We're going to review how we do home visiting, the process. We're going to do this. We're going to be checking in together. Here's what you can expect. We're just giving them equipment and excitement for the journey ahead. You're saying, we have thought about what you might need, and here is what we are providing to help you through it. And as you grow, we're going to make sure that you continue to receive and grow in your skill set, your knowledge, and your abilities. So this 50-mile trek has a couple of milestones you're going to hit along the way to supply up and keep going. I hope that analogy helps. And one of the resources that I hope is in that bag is CalTrin. Am I biased because I've been here since it started? Yes, I am. But I've also heard the testimonials. I've worked with professionals just like you. I know what CalTrin can offer to lift some of the heavy work that's needed for onboarding, specifically in the area of training and development, which are not the same, by the way. So I am curious. I don't know if I may have one. I may not. I'm going to double check to see if okay. Do I have one? Sorry, I'm double checking something. In the chat, I'm curious to know, had you heard of CalTrin before today? Just yes, kinda, or no? Yes, like, yep, I go to your trainings. I know all about them. Kind of like, it's familiar, but I don't really know. Nope this is my first time here. I'm just curious. Oh, I love you. Says yes, of course. Great. Of course. I recognize all of you, so I love this. Well then, hey, can we welcome Marlene? Because Marlene is stepping into this, and you stepped into a really interesting one, because we're about to deep dive into CalTrin a little bit. So for those of you that are joining for the first time, this will be new. For those of you, Tyson as well, welcome. For those of you that are here, I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes of CalTrin. Some of this you might already know, but this will be a great refresher. So CalTrin was in 2020, it was set to launch, y'all. It was set to launch as an in-person training. Can you believe that? Which means that the amount of people we would have been able to assist would have been limited to people we could travel to. 2020 happened. CalTrin pivoted. We went virtual. And now we're talking to people in all the counties, all the time. So grateful for that. Not what we expected, but here we are. And I have a little video to show you for those that might be new of who CalTrin is. We're going to watch this video together. It's going to take 90 seconds for us to watch together, well, a little bit over, but let's do this. And then I'm going to break down some of the resources specifically. Let me just play this for us. Here we go.
Hi, we're the California Training Institute, best known as CalTrin. We support child abuse prevention in California by connecting child and family serving professionals to free and accessible trainings and resources. CalTrin is funded by the California Department of Social Services Office of Child Abuse Prevention. Our mission is to deliver science-based professional development and extended learning to staff of family strengthening and child abuse prevention organizations, such as family resource centers, child abuse prevention councils, and child welfare agencies throughout California's 58 counties. No matter your role or level of experience, we have something for everyone. Our professional development and extended learning opportunities include live virtual events and self-paced courses organized around 4 content areas: evidence-based or evidence-informed service delivery, direct service delivery skills, trauma-informed systems, and management and leadership development. CalTrin's innovative learning model enables professionals to choose training and educational experiences that work best for their schedule, learning style, and career path, all at no cost to the learners. We invite you to subscribe to our mailing list and connect with us on social media to stay up to date about our project, upcoming trainings, and resources. Our team is here to support your learning journey. Have questions? Email us at info@caltrin.org. You can also scan the QR code on this screen for more information. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you in an upcoming training.
And that is a little bit about CalTrin. I have some fun facts that I'd like to share with you about CalTrin. We have added our 8th member to this team, so we are small and very mighty over here. But CalTrin kicked off our first training in February of 2021 virtually, and the first presentation was Intro to Child Trauma with one of our absolute favorite professionals in the workplace. Her name is Dr. Melissa Bernstein. And we actually turned that into a self-paced course that is available. So if I was looking to provide something foundational to my staff members, and everybody that walks in to our organization takes this, Intro to Child Trauma might be one of them. In 2024, that would be last year, we did 132 training sessions like this, which was 278 hours of training that we provided to over 8,492 learners. Super grateful for that. Every year has increased. We only hope to serve more as we go forward. And we span our training over 4 main areas. Those 4 areas are direct service delivery skills. So that might be how to navigate challenging conversations, motivational interviewing, evidence-based or evidence-informed service delivery, something like protective factors, which we do a protective factors of the month. It might be about some other, evidence-based or evidence-informed practice delivery. We have management and leadership development, which is my specific wheelhouse. So many of the leadership and development, management and leadership trainings that we offer, I develop in-house, I facilitate in-house, but we also, of course, curate presenters. And lastly, trauma-informed systems. This might be trauma-informed leadership, how to be trauma-informed in your organization, things of that nature. I have a couple examples on the next screen, but I am curious, because we offer this in a couple of different ways. We do webinars, we do lecture style. This is considered lecture style because I'm speaking to you, we're interacting in the chat, but we aren't in a room together, if you will, virtually. We provide reading and resources, self-paced courses, so forth and so on. I'm going to ask you a question about that in a few slides here. So here's an example of the type of trainings that we offer. And by the way, all of the trainings that you see on here are available right now in our replay section. So for example, direct service delivery skills, setting and maintaining healthy boundaries, reimagining the restoration of child family well-being, the growing brain with Dr. Pradeep Gudwani. Let's see, from zero to thrive, the science of social support. We have strengths-based leadership. We have trauma-informed care, parenting traumatized infants and toddlers, myths and facts. As you look through these, do you see any that would be very beneficial for your new hires and existing staff to attend or to rewatch as part of their ongoing training and development? If so, say yes in the chat. Do you see at least one of these that would be a good fit to include in your onboarding process so every new hire takes this training, or possibly the existing? Now, our trainings are typically 3 hours or less. All of them, 3 hours or less. Mostly they're about 2 hours. So if you're rewatching something or you're planning for them to watch something like The Growing Brain and it's 3 hours long, you would have to find that 3-hour slot in their training plan, allocate that time and protect it. But this is a copy of some of the trainings that we do. Again, we did over 100 last year, but the amount in our replay is a lot. So we do 2 types of professional development and extended learning. Mostly they are live virtual webinars and workshops like this, where we are either speaking to you, I can't see you, but I can interact with you in the chat, or we can see each other. It's meeting format, if you will, in Zoom. You might do breakouts. You might come off of mute. But we also have a large archive of replays and self-paced courses. So I am actually curious, when I think about you and I think about your learning style, like self-paced courses, webinars, and replays, how do you learn best? Tell me in the chat, do you like to take a self-paced course and learn at your own speed? Do you like a lecture style like this where we're talking, but you don't have to necessarily be in a breakout room? Do you prefer breakout rooms? Tell me your learning style in the chat. What do you like? What really helps you when you're learning a topic? You could say breakout rooms, lecture style without breakout rooms. Great. Then replays, webinars, self-paced courses would be great for you. Self-paced lecture with no breakouts. Something like this is a great fit for you. Lecture style and self-paced, great. We offer many of these different options here at CalTrin. And I'm grateful that we keep so many replays and archive things of that nature. I wanted to show you some of the self-paced courses that we offer. Our content is always growing, but this is what we currently have. And as you look through it, consider which of these would be really beneficial for everybody to have that enters this organization, or refreshers for team members, or possibly development opportunities for people learning to expand and grow. We have Introduction to Child Trauma, Understanding Compassion Fatigue and Secondary Traumatic Stress. This next one is very specific to leaders, which is Strategies for Addressing Compassion Fatigue and Secondary Traumatic Stress. Trauma, Parenting, and Challenging Behaviors. We have one for school-aged and adolescent. Exploring a Prevention Mindset, that would be moving upstream. Introduction to FFPS, because what is that? Trauma-Informed Care 101, and Leading Through Change. Already available for you, already online. And when you click into any of these, for example, Intro to Child Trauma, it'll give you a breakdown of what the course is about, who presented it. It'll give you all of the materials that were included and a step-by-step breakdown, essentially, of the topic. This one, Intro to Child Trauma, is our most popular self-paced course at the moment, which is kind of exciting. Now, all of these things, the replay, the self-paced course, all of that, and how much do these training cost through CalTrin? How much is it going to cost your training budget to send your folks to CalTrin? Nothing. It's free 99, we like to say. But it does take time. That's why what you have to pay is attention and allocate time, hopefully to not just hear it, but do something with it. So here's what I want you to consider. Let's say that you were going to build a 1-month plan for your new hires. What does foundational knowledge, skills, and or ability look like in the first month? You tell me. What are things that you need them to know? Everybody needs to know in their first month of your organization. Tell me in the chat. What do they need to know? As when I was a care coordinator, we were a pilot team. We spent the first month understanding how to do care coordination. What are the intake forms that we're filling out? Who are the resources that we're going to be referring to? What is an ASQ? Foundational knowledge. What about you? What are some foundational things that you need people to know in their first month? I'll give you a second. Foundational. It might be, where's the break room? I don't know. First month. These are the type of lists you'll need to be compiling as you're designing a thoughtful onboarding plan. Because the more clear you are, remember those clear goals on what you need people to know, the more equipped you are to make sure that they get there. So here's like a cheat sheet. In your first month of a new hire, really the goal is to build the foundation. I love this. Program expectations. What documents do we use? What's bedside manner? Where do I find resources? Absolutely. Some things that I might recommend to you if you are in a family or child serving organization, probation, child welfare, family resource center, CAPC, community-based organization, CASA volunteer, educator, after school program, daycare. These are 3 things or a few things I might recommend to you. Maybe your staff should be taking an overview of the protective factors. What are they? How about trauma-informed care foundations? How about the growing brain and how kids develop? Maybe they're going to take an introduction to child trauma self-paced class in the first month. Now, the first month is for skill building. How about the second month? The first month is for foundations. The second month is for skill building. That's where we are building on the foundation. I want you to think about in months 2 and 3, what are they learning that is scaffolding or building upon the knowledge that you just told me about in the chat. Maybe it's setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. Maybe it's well-being and resilience. Maybe it's parenting traumatized infants and toddlers, or understanding and addressing compassion fatigue. Because now that we have this foundation, now we can add to our toolbox. If you have them jump in to understanding compassion fatigue and secondary traumatic stress in their first month, you really pushed them in the deep end. Maybe we work up to that. However, there is also an opportunity, by the way. All of these trainings that I'm talking about are all available in our replay and self-paced courses. But the ongoing learning development is also important. You have staff that started 5 years ago. You're telling me that they shouldn't be taking training because they know everything? That's like telling a parent who comes to you. They're like, hey, listen, my kid is 6 and I have some, challenges. They're in kindergarten now. And you go, whoa, hey, why are you coming to me? You've been doing this for 6 years already. You should know what to do. Go figure it out. Or you don't need anything. You've already been a parent for 6 years. You got this. Yeah, right. You wouldn't say that. Just like I would never tell a staff member, just because you've been here for 10 years, you're done. No, of course, there's always things that we can learn. Maybe they're attending protective factor of the month. Maybe they're doing advanced protective factor trainings, which we also offer. How to lead an effective and engaging 15-minute huddle. Thank you, Jen. I'm glad that you liked that one. And maybe you send them to something that we developed in-house called the Emerging Leaders Development Program. That's an 8-month-long program that we developed at no cost. We take applications every year in the summer. We already have our cohort going, and they go through an 8-month leadership development journey for emerging leaders. These are people with less than 5 years. All that to say, if you're looking to integrate and bake in CalTrin into your process, it might look like this. Month 1, you're offering them foundational trainings. Month 2, you're going to offer them skill builders. That's what you are scheduling for them, working with them, asking them what's more interesting to them. And then you're using CalTrin for ongoing learning and development for your existing staff. Utilizing CalTrin is great for onboarding, by the way. But I wanted to also remind you, you could use it for ongoing staff development, maybe a monthly training topic, maybe as part of your organization training vibe, you have everybody attend a monthly protective factors of the month, and then you talk about it in your next team meeting. How are we integrating this? Will we be able to access a Zoom call? This is going to be available to you, and I hope you show it. Professional development is also great. Maybe you have staff that are looking to develop into a supervisory role. Why wait until they get there to tell them or show them resources about leadership? Don't you want them to have a longer runway than that? Maybe have them start dipping their toes into some leadership type courses to build their professional development portfolio. So as a little recap here for you, CalTrin is no cost to learners. Thank you. Thank you, California. Thank you, Office of Child Abuse Prevention. Thank you, Department of Social Services, for knowing that staff like you needed this resource and probably couldn't pay out of your training budget for it. CalTrin also lets you choose training and educational experiences that work best for your schedule. Your team works a graveyard shift, we got replays. We got self-paced courses. Or they can come to a live training if they're available. Your learning style. I've asked you what your learning styles were in the chat. We have things for all of those. And also for your career path. Now, I wanted to give you a quick recap. If you don't go to our website often, it is quite cute, if I do say so myself. I can say that because I did not develop it. But we have something, I hope you can still see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you're looking at my website. Can you see the CalTrin website, caltrin.org? Give me a thumbs up, great. I'm gonna copy and paste this for you right into the chat. I know my colleague is right on top of it, but I beat you to it. So caltrin.org is where all of this information is housed. I'd recommend if you go to the About Us, you can learn about our team. You can learn about how we keep people informed through our newsletters. You can also see under our training, our calendar, what do we have coming up this month? For example, if I was to click in there now, you would see, it's going to take a second to load. You'll see that here we are. We're here in the Leveraging CalTrin and Staff Onboarding. Tomorrow, we're doing shaken baby syndrome mechanics. Which is shaken baby syndrome mechanics, risks, and prevention across care systems. We have essential employee conversations. I'm leading that next week. It's a two-parter. Understanding EDMR. You just click into one of these and you register just like you did today. But we also have that training archive. That's where you could see a list of many of the replays that we talked about today. We also offer self-paced courses where we also house some additional replays and the self-paced courses. You wouldn't see this there because I'm logged in under mine, sorry. Let's see, what else? I wanted to also point out to you, we have micro learnings. So for those of you that are on a tight work schedule and you only got 10 minutes or less to learn something, or you want to show something in your team meeting, a quick learning experience for your team, we've got you. Look at us. We have created from trainings that we have facilitated or we have hired these subject matter experts to facilitate on our behalf. We extracted highlights and made a whole page out of it for you and your teams. And lastly, we have an incredible blog. Our copywriter, her name is Sheila, is so gifted. She's put together these blogs that are living, breathing resources. They're incredible. And you can see everything from working with tribal communities to address generational trauma, which CalTrin training options are best for you, what is secondary traumatic stress. You can read and learn all the resources available there. I would highly recommend that you flag that blog and see all the wonderful things that we have coming up. So I just showed you the training, and from there, I do want to just let you know, if you like to stay in contact with us and know what CalTrin is doing and what trainings we have available, you could check our website all the time, which I'm not going to say don't do that. But we can also pop right into your inbox. I'm guessing the majority of you get our CalTrin Connect newsletter. Give me an emoji if you do. Now, I told you there's 8 people on our team. Do you think we have time to spam your inbox? No, we don't. So we said no more than 2 a month. Unless we have something really important to tell you, then you might get 3. So you can trust us to not spam your inbox, but we will send it at least twice a month to tell you, here are the trainings that we have coming up. If you want to register, you should do it now. You can subscribe to that newsletter called the CalTrin Connect at no cost, of course. But we do also have a YouTube channel, and this is breaking news, soon to be Instagram. Soon to be Instagram. We have a LinkedIn, a Facebook, YouTube, that where we curate our different topics, highlights, and we put them all here for you. With that, I wanted to try to give some space for you to ask yourself a few important questions. The questions I have for you, I'm just going to give to you in a second. But first, do you have any questions for me? All right, everybody. So for those of you that are still hanging out, I just wanted to say that this checklist here that has been created for you, this is really how you are going to be considering, what do I want to do with this information? What does it look like for me? These are very important questions to ask yourself. What is currently working well? What do I need to redesign? And so what we're going to do is in a second, will drop a survey into the chat so that you can access your certificate of attendance and things of that nature. But I will ask you before we do that, will you please tell me one thing that you are going to implement or change or consider as part of today's session? Because this is the first time we've offered it, I am just curious what might have landed with you. Will you tell me in the chat, what is one thing that you would change, you might modify, you might add after today? We love a little implementation accountability here. I'll give you a moment to write that in. Putting the checklist into practice today. Let's go, Tyson. I like the coffee with the CEO. I love that too. That was such a great one. What else? What would you implement? What would you take away? Create a 30 or 90-day plan. Yes. And you know what? You might modify it a couple times, but get it started. Review, redo current onboarding. Yes, I love that. Coffee. A variant for this for onboarding longer-term volunteers. Absolutely. You're going to build that retention. Wanting to have training repository where staff can find training that fit their needs in one place. The training here will be great. Absolutely. Checklist. Wonderful. Well, with that, I just want to say we are so grateful that you gave us this time this morning. We hope that this information was relevant for what you needed. That's always our goal, of course, is to give you things that will be the most helpful. We're going to drop that survey into the chat now, and we will send a follow-up email with resources in about 2 days. And with that, everybody, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your time today, and thank you for all that you do. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.